Here's an example of one of our most common wood decay fungi, and one that actually has a common name. This is called the turkey tail fungus. It is what we would call a bracket fungus or a shelf fungus, and you can see the reproductive bodies, the fruiting bodies, all over the edge and the sides of this stump. It's a red maple stump. It's grown in great quantities, and if you were to look at this close up, often you find these in dried arrangements in specialty stores and the like. But it has a very interesting cap, which is zonate in multiple colors. This is where the turkey tail comes in. But if you turn it over, you'll find a very white underside, and underneath are very tiny pores or holes in which the spores are formed. These tubes or pores that you're looking at are so small that they're very difficult to see. A hand lens, you can see them very nicely. This particular wood decay fungus is one that shows almost no host specificity. It's been reported on well over 1,000 different species of woody plants. It seems to like perhaps deciduous plants more so than coniferous plants, but it's been reported on pines and firs and spruces, etc. It seems to really not depend upon any particular physiological makeup of the tree at all. As long as it seems to have lignin and cellulose, this particular fungus will decay it. It is a white rotter. Okay, oftentimes when you're kneeling down in this particular instance looking for this particular fungus, you'll notice another group of fungi, and if we can pan over here, we can see another stump with even more of our turkey tail, and this one is even more colorful than the one we just looked at. As you can see here, the colorations, or the zonate colorations, a little bit more vivid. Same idea though, if we turn it over, the underside is pure white, very tiny pores in which the spores are produced. Next to this is another stump. And if one looks carefully, there's yet another wood decay fungus growing here. This one is zonate on the top, but doesn't have the colors that this particular fungus has. Now these are both bracket fungi. They're actually closely related to one another. If we take off this particular fruiting body and look on the underside, whoa, we don't see pores at all. We see what appear to be almost gill-like structures. Now this is in fact a wood decay fungus, a polypore in the same general order and that this particular fungus is. These are very tough reproductive bodies. In fact, the fact that this has gill-like structures here, if you grab a hold of it and pull it or try to tear it, it has all the strong structural components and toughness that this particular species has. So I think you can see without even looking at it microscopically how these are closely related. They share the same habitat. They're both wood decayers. Okay, one happens to have gill-like structures on the underside where the spores are produced. The other has pores. If you look over here to the other side of this stump, you'll see some large bracket fungi of this very same species that we just looked at. And as we pan over here, I did not see this when we first got down, but here's yet another wood decay fungus in a different group altogether. And that's this fungus right here. This, on the underside of it, is smooth, and the spores are formed on the smooth surface rather than pores. And here's the same fungus growing flat on top of this stump. So you can see that it's not uncommon for 2, 3, or even sometimes 4 different fungi to be producing reproductive bodies on the same stump or the same piece of wood.